Halo sales being removed from the Amazon influencer program. That has been the talk of the past few days. So let's actually sit down, talk about it, my personal opinions, and just really dive down into this exact topic. Now, I've been seeing in these Facebook groups, even a few like 2 YouTube videos talking about the possibility of Amazon removing Halo sales. Now, when we refer to Halo sales, what does that actually mean? Those are those sales that you make indirectly from the videos that you post. So let's say, for example, if I make a review of this purple gray Powerade that I have on hand, and someone watches my video of that Powerade, but they end up buying, let's say, the blue one, or they see a something that's suggested to them, maybe a different brand like Gatorade, and they buy it. Well, I still make a commission of that. Then that is what is known as a Halo sale or an indirect sale. Okay, so you're basically making money off products that you didn't review in short terms. Now, the weird thing about this is that there's 2 ways to make sales, when it comes to Halo sales. So that first, scenario that I just explained is one of them. Now, the second one, which is the one that I believe that this is going to be affected, is the one where, you accept campaigns from creator connections from these brands that provide them. So, like when you post a video of, let's say, this Powerade, and if the brand Powerade has a campaign, on creator connections for it, well, guess what? You just submit that link and you make commission off of it whenever you sell that Powerade. Now, with Halo sales and with these campaigns and creator connections, where I would say it got tricky and it just never made sense, is that in the same scenario, we would run software like Oink, Viral View, that would catch campaigns related to these Powerades or whatever product, and so you would actually make money from those campaigns whenever those items shipped from those Halo sales that you made from without a video link. And I believe this is where Amazon really screwed brands up, because it just never not felt right, but it just felt very weird that we can make sales on these campaigns from all these brands without having an actual link to like a video link to their products. And so this is something that Amazon allowed in the first place, so it's really on them, and it's gonna come back on us now, because I'm pretty sure brands were like, yo, Amazon, like, what the fuck, bro? How are these creators making this money and we're not getting anything for it, right? And this is something I've talked to personally with a few other creators way before this was even really talked about. And I would always tell them, like, bro, it just doesn't make sense, like, these brands are literally putting out $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 campaign budgets, and when they see that they're being spent down because creators are making money from it without submitting content, they're literally throwing money away, bro. And I'm pretty sure they noticed this whenever all these extensions started adding these features, and Amazon allowed for this to happen. I'm sure they noticed that in their pockets when their ad spend would go down, and there'd be no content to back it up, right? And obviously, like I said, this is where Amazon really messed up, is allowing us to even make money like that, or but yeah, not even making the money, just not at least having the proper links to these campaigns, okay? And so I think they caught fire for this shit. And now it's coming back to us where where they're getting rid of all these reports, all this and that. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks with everything that's been going on. But again, I don't think we're losing a regular Halo sales that are related to through Amazon, but I think the ones for creative connections, campaigns, yeah, those might be a done deal. But like I said, in my personal opinion, that shouldn't have never been the case anyways. Okay, I remember when I saw this, feature being offered through like Oink and all these other softwares. To me, I was just like, bro, that just seems kind of pretty fucked up. Like, if I'm a brand owner, I'm gonna expect some type of content or being shared on like a YouTube channel, Pinterest or Facebook group, to at least get something and get some form of view or purchase through my products. But to just give you money just because you had a Halo sale indirectly, like, that's pretty messed up. I mean, one can argue, oh, well, we still got you a sale or whatever, even without submitting, content. So, it's still converted, right? But from a brand perspective, that's not something long term that they can rely on too, because they want to go on the Amazon platforms and know with the guarantee that they're going to get something in return, whether it's a video shared, posted through YouTube, Amazon, or just wherever, right? Or even the deals, shared through like Instagram and stuff. Somewhere where they're bringing in traffic to these brands and being able to purchase off, the Amazon platform. And so, but yeah, very interesting to see what's gonna happen in the next few weeks. I know everybody's like going crazy, losing their shits and all this and that, but that's something that you as a Amazon influencer creator is also, like, this is one thing that you made a mistake with as well. Okay, is relying on something like this where it was literally just easy free money. Like, I looked at my creator connection earnings yesterday. I made like $100 extra, and I guarantee a lot of that's going to be just from like Halo sales indirectly. So now, will it affect you long term if this does become the thing? Yeah, I mean, because you were getting a lot of free money from all these brands indirectly, right? So you probably will see a major, or who knows if it's major, but a decent amount of your commissions going down for sure. So if you were already averaging, I don't know, maybe $100 days, maybe you're going to go back to like $80, $70 days or something like that. I mean, I don't have the exact, percentage number wise or whatever, but you will notice some form of difference. Okay, so it is what it is. My advice, going forward with all these changes and what's going on and what could possibly happen, because everything right now is just speculation. Okay, everything's just speculation. There's no 100% fact that this is what's going to happen. But if it does, and when it does, because even if it doesn't happen right now, again, I don't see this being, something sustainable long term for these brands. Best way to suit yourself is just keep uploading videos, man. Like, keep posting, keep requesting stuff through creator connections, reaching out to brands, posting content. And that's probably the most important piece of this stuff, regardless. It's posting the content, okay? Get the product, make those reviews, post them for Amazon, post them for YouTube. And another thing too is building off your offsite, sites and stuff, right? Like, right now, there's a lot of people who are just knee deep within the Amazon influencer program by itself, which, if you're making a killing, you're making good money from it, nothing wrong with that, right? But when changes like this happen and it could drop your earnings from like 10,000 to like 8,000, 7,000, I mean, that makes a difference right there. And I've mentioned this before too, to other creators, just friends and whatnot. Like, bro, long term, the Amazon influencer program is trying to go more into the offsite aspect, okay? And that's why we're getting all these incentives and whatnot. You're seeing people entering into creator connection last year with no regulation, basically, like no limits. All you needed to do was hit that bronze level tier or whatever, and you were basically in. Whereas before, you needed like to be invited and whatnot. So I'm telling you, Amazon's going more offsite. They want brands to pay up. They want them to, take this financial burden or whatever. So Amazon doesn't have to come out of their own pockets, okay? So if you're not building something offsite like a YouTube channel, a Facebook group deal, a Pinterest thing or whatever, or just something that's going to drive traffic for, these brands onto the Amazon platform, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot long term. Because, I mean, even when requesting some of these products through creator connections, I'm noticing an increase of these brands. They're requesting for social media handles. They want social media links. Where else are we posting? Can we post on YouTube? Can we post on here? And so if you're not building something on the side like that and just relying on site, then you are setting yourself up for, honestly, disaster long term, man. Like, you have got to start building something. Before, I would tell you, don't focus on the offsite, especially if you're just a beginner. And that still holds true a little bit. But once you get your feet a little bit wet and you start making some type of, money, even if it's $1,000 a month, $500, then yeah, start trying to build something on the side. Because it's, for one, it's going to help you. It's going to build a reputation, and it's going to build up your brand, and it's going to bring more awareness. And the brands are going to love that you're actually trying to, build something on the offsite aspect and not just relying on the onsite. Okay, so, but yeah, if you can do that, you will outlast everybody else. One thing, last thing that I do want to mention too is that regardless of what happens, if they make certain changes, one thing I do see them probably implementing is making creators actually put video links to these campaigns. I think if they can put this back and make it a thing, then it will kind of regulate itself way more than what it is. But who knows, like I said, who knows? But if that is the case, then now than ever, just make more content. It's going to take more work. You're going to have to put in a little bit more. But hey, the money's good for those of us who are willing to put in that work, doing this business model. And for those of you who don't want to, you're going to have a very hard time long term with this business model. Because yeah, it's been on autopilot pretty easy. Even right now, it still is, even if they take away the campaign, hello sales or whatever. because we still got like the regular Amazon ones. But again, we just don't know what's gonna happen. It's just all speculation. But that is just my thoughts, my advice, my tips for those of you who are in the program and you're a little bit worried. Okay, so start building something, get that thing off the ground, and you will have no issues regardless of what happens. All right, so that's just my advice for this video though. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you have any personal thoughts of your own, what do you think of what's actually going to happen, drop it down there in the comment section. I actually would love to hear what you guys have to say about this topic, because yeah, it's pretty interesting, interesting stuff that happens daily with the Amazon influencer program. But with that, I am out. Peace, and I'll see you on the next one.